我以前冇得揀，我而家想揀返做好人。
對唔住，我係差人。
In the previous episode, we reviewed the story of Infernal Affairs II, focusing on the experiences of Lau Kin Ming and Ngai Wing Yan during their youth. We explain how they became an undercover for the triads and the police, respectively. The film also unveiled the grudges between Wong Chi Shing and Wong Sam during their younger days and their complex entanglement with the Ngai family. Today, we will revisit the story of Infernal Affairs I. If Infernal Affairs II explains the why, Infernal Affairs I focuses on the how. Two masterpiece of Hong Kong movie. The timeline this movie is set after Infernal Affairs II. Hong Sam become the triad boss. After police killed Ngai Wing Hao, the film highlights the battle between the undercover on both sides of justice and crime. Wong Chi Shing secretly planted Ngai Wing Yan as an undercover agent to infiltrate Hong Sam's organization. At the same time, Hong Sam placed his man Lau Kin Ming inside the police force. The destinies of these two undercover intertwine in this complex confrontation, and the fates of Wong Chi Shing and Hong Sam also meet their conclusions in this movie. The film begins with a flashback. Hong Sam is seen praying at a temple. He recounts to his subordinates a story about how he survived his battles with the police, losing 6 trusted men in the process. In the background, 6 urns are visible behind him, corresponding to the number of people he mentioned. At that time, Hong Sam was still working under Ngai Kung, had a loving wife and a decent relationship with Wong. He has a smooth life. From his eyes, you can see his aspirations for the future. He tells his subordinates that fortune teller said his success would come at the cost of countless lives. But he doesn't believe it at all. He believes that fate is in his own hands. Little did he know that his future ascension would indeed fulfill fortune teller's words. He become triad boss at expense of his wife and the Ngai family, fulfilling the fortune teller's words. It also aligns with the film's theme of karma. This flashback is brilliantly executed. It showcases Hong Sam as a far-sighted man, and his ultimate goal was to become the triad boss after Ngai Kung's demise. It also subtly foreshadows his eventual downfall. The scene then transitions to a segment at the police academy. It shows how Ngai Wing Yan was chosen by Wong to become an undercover agent, and how Lau Kin Ming underwent training at the academy. At the beginning of this segment, Wong is seen wearing a Rolex Submariner, different from the Blancpain watch he wears in the second movie. This detail subtly hints at Wong's morally ambiguous methods during this time. Interestingly, Ngai Wing Yan later also wore a same watch after joining the triads. He is possibly influenced by Wong, or alternatively, Wong may have given his Rolex to Ngai as a token of support, because in later scenes Wong also gives Ngai another watch. At this point, Ngai Wing Yan's badge number is 27,149, a number of significant importance later in the film. As Ngai leaves the academy after being expelled, the person who opens the door for him is actually Inspector Wing from the third film. Seeing Ngai leaving, Lau Kin Ming says, "I want to trade places with him." This line actually carries an underlying meaning. Lau doesn't want to stay at the academy. He wishes to return to Mary, Hong Sam's wife, the woman he loves. This sentiment reflects his initial thoughts. However, when he repeats this line at the film's end, it carries a different connotation, which we will discuss later. After recounting the academy experiences, the film delivers its first iconic scene. It is packed with immense detail that I have to repeatedly watch this scene to understand. Middle-aged Lau Kin Ming and Ngai Wing Yan meet in an audio equipment store. This store is actually where Ngai hides drugs. This was shown in the third film. Since Lau works in the police surveillance team, he is very knowledgeable about audio equipment. He visits the store to purchase a home audio system and had a casual chat with Ngai. Ngai recommends a product to him, and the two test the equipment together in the store. The song they play is the same one young Lau and Mary listened to in the second film. This was likely Mary's favorite song, which Lau continued to listen to after her death. This detail implies that Lau never forgot Mary after all these years, a brilliant piece of foreshadowing. Lau, in turn, recommends Ngai a better amplifier audio wiring. Since Lau is deeply familiar with this song, he knows how to achieve the best sound quality. Surprisingly, this wire later saves Ngai's life in the story. A second layer of foreshadowing that I will explain later. The song's lyrics contain a line, "Who is knocking on my window?" Coincidentally, midway through the film, Ngai uses Morse code to tap on a window to send a signal to Wong. Looks to be a scene that echoes this lyric. When making payment, the receipt shows the date as November 28th. However, Ngai's tombstone at the film's end lists his death date as November 27th. The director explained that this was an oversight, but many fans prefer to interpret it as a symbol of cyclical fate. It means Ngai and Lau are perpetually trapped in a cycle of meeting and parting. These 2 minutes-long scenes contains 4 foreshadowing details. Did you catch them all? The scene then shifts to the police station, offering a brief look at Lau Kin Ming's daily work routine. During an interrogation scene, the director incorporates 2 intriguing details. First, Lau pretends to be a lawyer and uses his dual identity, coupled with his familiarity with the triad network, to get the suspect to reveal the location of a drug manufacturing facility. Pay attention here to how Lau places his phone under the table. When the suspect makes a call, he tells Lau to leave. On the surface, this seems like a simple dismissal to Lau, but in reality, it's a signal to those on the other end of the call, warning them to evacuate the factory before the police arrive. Both individuals are performing a carefully coordinated act. Later, Lau's colleague Lam, who is also another undercover placed by Hong Sam, asks Lau how he knew the gang leader's name. This question nearly exposes Lau's identity, and you can see Lau's expression suddenly turns somber. This scene can be interpreted in 2 ways. First, Lam might be simply curious about how Lau had access to insider information, probing Lau's background. Or Lam might already know Lau's true identity and is subtly warning him not to attract too much attention. The film's first climax revolves around Hong Sam's drug transaction with a Thai gang. This core plotline centers on the police's attempt to dismantle Hong's drug trade. The Thai gang, represented by Wei Chai, is the same group that collaborated with Hong to overthrow the Ngai family in the second film. Hong meets with them in a residential building to test the quality of the drugs and negotiate the deal. Meanwhile, the Thai gang plans to use water routes to deliver the drugs to Hong's subordinates. What follows is a thrilling espionage sequence between the police and the gang as they battle to uncover the delivery location. Initially, the police try to track Hong's men to pinpoint the transaction site. However, Lau provides Hong with the police's radio frequency, allowing him to stay 1 step ahead. Both sides are locked in a stalemate. Pay attention to the dialogue here. The Thai gang becomes impatient and complains about the delay in making the deal. One of Hong's men understands Thai and overhears their conversation. He relays it to Ngai Wing Yan, mentioning that the Thais are waiting at Leung Tan Beach. This seemingly minor exchange is a cleverly concealed piece of foreshadowing. No one else was told the delivery location other than 2 of Hong's men, so Ngai would have had no way of knowing. If it weren't for this overheard conversation, the night's operation would have been canceled. Ngai relays this leaked information to Wong using Morse code. Wong then devises a countermeasure and tells the trailing officers to stand down. This is to mislead Hong while shunting the radio frequency and transmitting the delivery location to the frontline officers. Sam was fooled by this ploy and orders his men to proceed to Leung Tan to collect the goods. However, observing everything and deciphering the Morse code, Lau sends a text message to Hong at the last moment. It warns Hong of the undercover presence. Hong then orders his men to throw the cocaine into the sea, causing the police operation to fail. Hong Sam realizes there is an undercover agent among his men. When Ngai tries to console him, Hong angrily breaks his plaster cast. This symbolizes his lingering distrust of Ngai. And this is where the amplifier audio wiring from the earlier audio shop scene comes into play. Pay attention to the window in this sequence. Ngai connects the wire to a listening device and attaches it to the exterior of the building, tapping on the window to send coded messages. This clever setup goes unnoticed by others while providing effective surveillance. Originally, Ngai intended to conceal the listening device inside his plaster cast. Without this wire, his cover as an undercover agent might have been blown by Hong. This earlier setup is a brilliant piece of foreshadowing. The police then raid the site. Wong likely knew the Leung Tan operation would fail, and capturing Hong would be futile. So why did he still go to the exchange site? He did it for Ngai. Knowing Hong had realized there was an undercover agent, Wong hoped his timely arrival might save Ngai if his cover was blown. This explains why Ngai looks puzzled by the police raid initially, but he soon realizes Wong's intention to protect him. Meanwhile, Lau, observing the situation, subtly signals to Hong that the police have no solid evidence against him, prompting Hong to reconsider before directly confronting Wong. The film includes a tense confrontation between Wong and Hong at the police station. This scene mirrors their earlier interaction in Infernal Affairs II. Hong taunts Wong for achieving nothing during the night's operation, while Wong retorts that Hong has lost a few $1,000 tonight. In Cantonese, a few $1,000 can colloquially mean tens of thousands, making this a sharp insult. This line is reminiscent of Wong's earlier comment to Ngai Wing Yan in Infernal Affairs II, in which Wong celebrated Ngai Kung's death. Despite everything, Wong remains a master of psychological tactics. This enrages Hong, and he sweeps food off the table in fury. Wong attempts to de-escalate the situation by shaking Hong's hand. Actor Eric Tsang that play Hong ad-lib a chilling line. He said to Wong, "Have you ever seen someone shake hands with a corpse at a funeral parlor?" This line perfectly foreshadows Hong's resolution to eliminate Wong. Masterpiece by Eric. After this tense exchange, the film introduces Mary, Lau Kin Ming's wife. Remember the young woman at the police station recording her statement at the end of Infernal Affairs 2? That's Mary, now married to Lau. The director deliberately cast two similar-looking actresses to create this connection. Lau never forgot the Mary he loved during his youth. The rooftop golf scene with Lau Kin Ming and Police Chief Leung is also intriguing. It's evident that Leung values Lau and plans to promote him. Did you know that in the original novel, Leung was intended to be Lau's future father-in-law? During filming, the team decided this connection was unnecessary and made it more subtle. However, the line, "How's your wedding preparation coming along?" remains, serving as a hint to Lau's personal life. In the film, rooftop symbolize visibility and transparency, a place exposed to the heavens. Lau removing his black suit jacket during this scene signifies his desire to shed his past as a triad member. He wants to embrace a new identity as a good man. At this point, Lau begins to seriously consider leaving the triads for good. Later, Hong meets Lau in a cinema and asks him to identify the police mole. This scene includes two fascinating details. First, the posters in the cinema are all foreign films. None feature Hong Kong's movie. This was the director's intended message to reflect on the decline of Hong Kong films. Second, Lau maintains the same subtle mannerisms as his younger self in Infernal Affairs 2. Pay attention to these small gestures. Are they identical? As the battle between the police and the triads escalates, Hong begins purging his organization of potential leaks while ramping up his counterattacks against the police. Lau instructs Lam to follow Wong, attempting to identify the mole and orchestrating a deadly plan. Notice the background during Lau's phone call to Lam. A chessboard mural symbolizes Lau's intricate strategic planning. Realizing the growing danger, Wong arranges a secret meeting with Ngai Wing Yan to further confirm the mole identity. However, this meeting tragically sets the stage for Wong's death. Wong and Ngai meet on a rooftop, but Hong's men tail Wong. After the meeting, Hong's men quickly set an ambush. Wong, realizing the imminent danger, instructs Ngai to leave via the rooftop cable car while he stays behind to face Hong's man. Pay attention to the floor numbers shown in the stairwell during Wong and Hong's escape. The number 4 is prominently displayed. Number 4 symbolizes death in Cantonese culture. This subtly foreshadows Wong's tragic fate. As Wong and Ngai part ways, both actors deliver a masterful performance. In the 4-second scene before they part, Ngai glances up and down at Wong as if trying to remember him one last time. He looks uncertain if this goodbye is permanent. Actor Anthony Wong also adds by himself a simple line, amplifying the emotional weight of the scene. When Lam reports to Lau that Wong is in danger, Lau immediately leads a team to the scene. This is not out of concern for Wong, but to manage the fallout. If Wong were to die, the case might be thoroughly investigated, potentially exposing Lau. Hong's men confront Wong in the elevator lobby and push him off the rooftop. The abruptness of this scene shocks the audience. Ngai witnesses Wong's death but is powerless to intervene, a cold and direct visual that underscores the tragic reality of justice being crushed by violence. Even for Lam, Hong's mole within the police force shows a moment of shock and sadness upon seeing Wong's body. After all, Lam had worked with Wong and likely felt some degree of connection. Actor Gordon Lam's subtle performance in this moment is outstanding. After Wong's death, the police initiate an internal investigation into potential moles. Lau recognizes the mounting pressure, begins to feel the walls closing in on him. Also, he is not happy with Hong Sam's handling of Wong's death. Using Wong's phone, Lau contacts Ngai and decides to collaborate with him to eliminate Hong. Lau's motivations to kill Hong seem multifaceted. First, Wong's death places immense pressure on Lau, as the case is likely to be scrutinized and he could be implicated. The best solution is to kill Hong, framing it as revenge for Wong and an act of redemption to atone for his crimes. Second, Lau realizes the benefits of being a police officer: visibility, love with Mary, and a promising career. With Lau and Ngai working together, Sam eventually falls into their trap and is apprehended. However, the story doesn't end here. Instead, it builds toward its third and final climax. At the police station, Lau and Ngai meet again. Ngai provides Lau with the password to the undercover files, requesting Lau to help restore his identity. As Lau accesses the files, Ngai accidentally notices the dossier on Hong's subordinates on Lau's desk, and he sees his own file, revealing Lau's role as Hong's mole. Realizing the danger, Ngai leaves the station immediately. This disruption alters Lau's plans. While he may have initially intent to restore Ngai's identity, he now realizes Ngai will come after him, and eventually decides to delete Ngai's records and issues a warrant for his arrest. Some viewers may ask why Ngai chose to run away. From Ngai's vantage point, he has no way of knowing whether Lau intends to help or harm him. If Lau plans to delete Ngai's records, Ngai would be arrested on the spot. With no other option, Ngai chooses to flee. Ngai seeks refuge with his psychologist, revealing his true identity and leaving her with the password of his mailbox. Meanwhile, Ngai sends Lau's incriminating recordings to Mary, a clear sign that he has no intention of reconciling with Lau. Instead, he plans to expose Lau's identity, holding him accountable for Wong's death. The two men agree to meet on the rooftop for their final confrontation. Lau tries to justify his actions, seeking validation, while Ngai confronts death head-on, determined to reclaim his rightful identity as a police officer. This exchange highlights their starkly contrasting paths and inner world. Lau tells Ngai that he wants to be a good man, echoing Ngai's earlier statement to Wong about why he wanted to become a police officer. The two men share remarkably similar aspirations, yet fate has led them down entirely divergent roads. Initially, the two might have had a chance to negotiate, but Lam followed Lau, arrives on the rooftop. Forced into a desperate situation, Ngai takes Lau hostage, intending to escort him down via the elevator and bring him to justice at the police station. Pay attention to the details in the elevator sequence. When the elevator door opens, Ngai makes a fatal and naive mistake. He exposes his head, allowing Lam to shoot him in the head. This critical error stems from two factors. First, it suggests that Ngai's skills have deteriorated. Having spent years as a triad member, Ngai likely grew rusty with the police training he received at the academy. More importantly, Ngai didn't know that Lam was also Hong's mole. Believing Lam to be a legitimate police officer, Ngai let his guard down. He assumed the police wouldn't use lethal force unless absolutely necessary, and this ultimately cost him his life. After killing Ngai, Lam tells Lau that he has destroyed the recording Ngai planned to use as evidence against Lau. This reveals a crucial detail omitted in the film. Ngai had mailed the recording to Police Chief Leung. Leung's full name is Leung Kwok Ping. However, because of Ngai's messy handwriting, the recording was mistakenly sent to Lam. His name is Lam Kwok Ping. This twist of fate inadvertently saves Lau. The director chose to exclude this detail to keep the film concise. In the film's closing scenes, Ngai's identity as a police officer is confirmed, and the department holds a funeral in his honor. Two fascinating details stand out on Ngai's tombstone. Ngai's death is listed as December 27th, while earlier in the film, the receipt from the audio shop indicated the date as December 28th. The name listed for Ngai's father is not Ngai Kung, but another name, suggesting Ngai fabricated this information to conceal his family background. The film ends with Lau Kin Ming gazing into the camera, repeating the line, "I want to trade places with him." This time, does Lau mean he wants to exchange outcomes with Ngai or switch identities altogether? What do you think? Like this video, please help to click like and subscribe. That would mean a lot to my channel. Thank you.